Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, the show that offers you tips and strategies to help speakers build the business of their dreams. Now here's your host, 30-year industry veteran and business coach, Jane Atkinson.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. I'm your host, Jane Atkinson. Today, we're going to be talking about soap operas, drama, and the speaking industry. And our special guest is former actor and soap opera writer, Robyn Hatcher. Welcome, Robyn.
Thank you, Jane. So happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited. Now you must dish. Tell us about this background of yours in the world of soaps. I know a lot of people know you through the speakers associations and they're like, what? I didn't know that about Robyn. So please divulge all of the drama in your history.
I know. It's so funny. It wasn't until recently that I started exposing that part of myself because, and that's a lesson for speakers.
Yes.
What I see a lot is people try to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm a speaker now. I'm a leadership speaker. I'm just going to talk about leadership. And you've got this amazing baby that's sitting in the bathwater that if you bring it out can really make you different and differentiate yourself. So it's like your career. So anyway, yes, I was a soap opera writer for two daytime dramas, two of the most iconic daytime dramas out there.
Yes.
All My Children and One Life to Live. And but previous to that, I was an actor for years, and I started writing because I was having challenges finding roles that I wanted to do. And so one of my acting teachers said, why don't you write one for yourself? And so I did. And then he said, turn it into a play. And I did. And an agent took that play to ABC Daytime. And I got hired to be in a program to write soap operas.
Oh my God.
And so that was like,
where did you live when this was going on, Robyn?
Oh, it's all in New York because they were New York based soaps. And actually, and I'll tell you later, as a scriptwriter, you could leave anywhere.
Yes.
Because the script writers never meet.
Right.
But so I was a writer for All My Children and One Life to Live, like I said. And what a lot of people don't realize is that there are two teams of writers that write one day of dialogue or one day of a soap opera. And
are you saying one episode?
One episode. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Two teams for one episode. Why is it two teams?
Yeah, it's interesting because one team writes what's called the breakdown. And that is essentially an outline of what is supposed to happen during that day. So you literally have, this is a scene, this is the opening, it's like everything, they start with the teaser, then you write this scene, these are the characters that you have to work with. Yeah. This is, the outline writers, the breakdown writers, which I did for One Life to Live, we sit in the room with the head writer, and the head writer speaks with the producer previously, and they decide what that week is going to be like. So all of the breakdown writers are in the room, and each one is assigned a day. And so then we have this whole 2 days of meeting where, okay, this week has to go from A to D. These are the characters we have to work with. These are the sets we have to work with. And this is what's supposed to happen. This is the drama that is supposed to happen. So you go home and write an outline for your day.
So Joanne is going to find out that John, her boyfriend, is really her brother.
Yes. Yes. And you have to do it in the coffee shop because that's the only set we have available.
Oh, that's right. And we have to do it in the coffee shop. And she's going to freak out. Okay. So a breakdown is an outline.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the people who are doing the dialogue.
Exactly. So each script writer. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was curious about how annoyed do the script writers get when the actors want to change their lines or something? Like, does that happen?
Well, no, because we as scriptwriters, because I wrote scripts for All My Children. I was a scriptwriter for All My Children. So what happens is each script writer then gets a breakdown, and they look at the breakdown, they have to take that breakdown and write the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can be as creative. Sometimes the breakdown writers will tell you like what scene by scene, then you have to make it work within that scene
Right.
with the dialogue with those characters. And why it gets less and less personal is because there's another part of this writing team, which is the editor. And each soap opera has one editor whose job is to read through all of the scripts for consistency.
Right.
And so the editor, so you get, a week later, you get your script back and it's like, okay, this line didn't work, cut this line. So, by the time the editor gets
that, they say Joanne wouldn't say
exactly,
that.
exactly. And so they just black mark it, and then it goes to the actor.
And so the actor, there's no collaboration when it comes to the actors at that point.
No.
So I'm thinking working on a soap is really, really different from working on a movie. Especially if the director is more collaborative.
Right.
Because I've heard, I don't know, do you ever listen to the Smart List podcast?
The which?
The Smart List podcast?
No.
So Smart List is 3 actors.
Mm.
So Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes from Will and Grace. So he was more of they've all been comedic actors anyway. So I've been listening to them interviewing actor after actor, and I'm not absorbing it, but I'm definitely curious about it because from a speaking standpoint, there are some things that cross over and authenticity and
right.
A lot of the same themes that we have in speaking.
Right. Yeah, and it's such a great analogy for soap operas. Like with my keynote now, I make the analogy between those 3 teams, and as a speaker, because the breakdown writer is like your organization's leadership.
Mm.
They set the rules, they set the structure, they set, the norms, all of that.
Right.
And then they give it to the script writer, who are the employees, and they write the script.
Right.
And that's what sometimes causes drama because they're all working from their own scripts.
Right.
And also when we were talking about bringing it to the speaking industry, as professional speakers, our breakdown writers are our event planners and our event, organizers.
Yes.
They set the structure. This is what is supposed to happen.
We have a goal, a theme at this event.
We have a theme. We have a goal. We have an outcome that they would like to have. And they, hopefully as a good speaker, you're going to have a conversation to try to find out what's in that breakdown so that you can write the script that is going to resonate with their audience.
Maybe that's why you've had such success as an MC for events, because you really get that.
Yeah. It's all about helping the organizers
hold the vision,
pull their vision and bring dialogue to that vision that fits the vision, because like if I were a writer for the soaps and I'm writing Erica Kane and I decided to give her this really empathetic, wonderful, caring moment, the editor's going to like, does she watch the show?
Wait. Erica would never say that.
Erica would never say that. And it's like, as much as you think that you would want her to say that, as a creative person, I can't just do it because they have, Erica has
she's a
Erica has her, and that's the other interesting part that I bring to my keynotes as well. And we as speakers need to know too. Yeah. And that's why when I was talking about the baby with the bathwater, we all come with what I call the show Bible, because the show Bible in the soaps, before I could write anything, I had to study the show Bible, which is like, who is Erica Kane? Who are her parents? How many times has she gotten married and divorced? Yeah. How many nervous breakdowns has she had? Like all of that is in the show Bible. And when we don't know the show Bible, then we go in and we write whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what causes conflict in workplaces. And that's what I like to talk about because, and also, and that's why, some speakers will just pull a topic out of the thin air. And it's like not even studying your own show Bible.
Yeah.
In my show Bible, like I did it. In my show Bible, I was a soap opera writer.
Yes.
But
So I'm so happy that you came to the conclusion. And full disclosure, you and I work together
uh
in private coaching. And I'm so happy that wasn't due to me that you pulled that forward. It was
yeah.
pre our working together. But I'm really happy that because we have to really think about what are our differentiators.
hmm
And that is such a cool thing. Like the minute you said it, I'm like, oh, tell me more about that. I need to know more. I'm very curious about, I don't watch soap operas anymore, but my mom used to watch All My Children,
Right.
and I certainly know who Erica Kane is. That's Susan Lucci, by the way, who wasn't it a long, long, long time before she ever won an Emmy for her work? Or did she ever
Right.
win? I don't know.
I think she finally won.
Finally
Yeah.
won, but it took forever for her to get
Yeah.
recognized for it. Anyway, let's talk about your transition. So what happened in between? You probably had other jobs, did you? And then you came over to speaking. What was your path to speaking?
Yeah, my one job that led pretty directly to speaking, I think, was as an actor, I was trained to teach English as a second language with an acting flavor. So there was a method it was called the Racius method. And Mr. Racius would hire actors because he believed teaching English was all about really getting them involved. And so actors were the best ways to do it. So it wasn't all about the grammar, it was about all these exercises that actors were shoo-in to perform. And so I
Oh,
got hired to do that. And so I started teaching English as a second language using the Racius method. But then I started thinking, you know, I want to go off on my own because I'm totally creative. So and what I noted is I was teaching adults in college, and they wanted to go to American universities, and this was at a city university in New York, and so I was
okay.
teaching them, and I got so tired of teaching them vocabulary and teaching them grammar because it wasn't helping them when they went to the deli and wanted to have a conversation with the person there or the person next to them.
Okay.
So I started thinking like, how can I help them more? And I created a public speaking class. And so
Ah,
I created a public speaking class just for these higher level language learners.
mm-hmm.
And I made them do skits. I made them do interviews. I brought in people to interview them. I made them do debates, and I got them on stage in front of their peers to debate a topic in a language that is not their first language.
Oh my God.
And it had an amazing result. People were, the adaptation of language is so much stronger when you're under stress, and they had to learn it like that. And their confidence grew, everything grew. And that job taught me about the love of public speaking. And then that's what I started doing. I started teaching public speaking. I would do like women's groups and state chambers of commerce and public speaking, and somewhere along the line someone told me about National Speakers Association, and I realized that, oh, there's more to this.
This is a business.
Yeah, yeah.
So joining the NSA New York group, is that the right?
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
and I know that you've been quite integral in their growth over, how many years have you been involved with that group?
I've been involved since 2015, I want to say.
So
Yeah,
10 years.
yeah. So
You've
it's
got a
almost, yes,
decade
about
under
10 years.
your belt and lots of awards. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see
Yeah.
all of the awards behind Robyn, which are beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, aren't they great? I have to
So
think. Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about your business because you started with public speaking, but and being a writer and a clever writer, You've got a couple of topics that are pretty hot for you right now. You've got one called Drama Detox. You've
Yeah.
got one called Own It While You Hone It,
Mm-hmm.
which, both of them are great titles. How, and maybe the word that's at the top of your umbrella that holds those together is kind of like drama, releasing yourself of the drama of whatever so that you can own it and own your life. Talk a little bit about the pieces of those programs that speakers can grab onto. What do you think are some of the issues that you see with professional speakers?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because when I talk about own it while you hone it and drama happens in the workplace for sure. And when it's like interactive and people talking with each other. It happens in friendships, it happens in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it also happens in your own head.
Yes, where
And
there are
so, yeah,
yes, where there are other people, there is drama, but also we create a lot of drama for ourselves.
yeah.
And I would say not all of my clients, but some of my clients are definitely the factors that are getting in their own way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting because Jane, I know you work so much on mindset and it's so important. Just this morning I was listening to a podcast and I was talking about that and how, we are limiting ourselves by our own mindset, what we think we can do. And if we think we can't, we're definitely not going to do it. And one of the things that he said is the only limitation is really based on physics. So that's really the only thing that limits us is something that is physically impossible to do. Not physically impossible, but is based on the laws of physics.
Okay.
So the laws of physics, we can't fly right now. We can't, like, we could
Gravity is
want to.
gravity.
Yeah,
Yes.
we
Yes.
could want to all we want, but there's a physics of gravity that keeps us
Yeah.
down. But other than that, there were so many things that we limit ourselves. And people use that example a lot, the 4 minute mile, and how people thought we couldn't break it. And then I had this like secret obsession with American Ninja Warrior. If anybody's ever seen it, it's like this competition show, and they have to do all these crazy stunts.
Yes.
And it's so physically draining. And so people will go and fall and go and fall and go and fall. And then one person
I'll do
will
it.
get through an obstacle.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how after that, so many more people can do
And
it.
that just goes to show, and I think a lot of sports as well, certainly golf, and maybe you could even bring it to football and basketball and what have you. Uh, how, I wonder what the percentage is in terms of mindset and confidence. So what
Yeah, my son was a
is
professional baseball
something,
player, so I know.
what's that? Say that again?
I said my son was a professional baseball player, and I know how much
Okay.
it has
Talk
to do
about
with that.
that. How, tell,
My son was drafted was a left-handed pitcher. He went to Yale. He was drafted his junior year to play with the Cincinnati Reds in the minor
mm,
leagues. So he played for 5 years in the minor league. And, my son and I are very close. And as a pitcher, it's so important to forget about your last pitch. And if you can't forget about your last pitch, it's going to inform your next pitch and your next pitch and your next pitch.
wow.
And I saw it happen over and over again with my son because he was not capable of forgetting something that he wasn't good at and
Mm,
seeing what he could do next time. And and it's stressful, sometimes, and he was a great pitcher and
yeah.
but he couldn't, yeah.
So that is, if we translate that into speaking, let's say you have a bad outing. Have you ever
Mhm.
had a gig that didn't go well?
Oh yeah.
Okay, do tell. And did you forget about the last pitch, or did you carry that forward into the one after that?
It's so hard, but eventually I learned to forget it, and it's so critical. And it took a lot to forget it because so many of us we go into this business, and I know I've met so many speakers, and so many of us are perfectionists,
Yes.
and so that can haunt you. And it's true because if you're not slightly a perfectionist, you're probably not working as hard as some other people or whatever. But that mindset can really get you.
Yeah.
And it's so important to be able to let it go.
So, what were some of the details of a situation that you just walked away from feeling really upset about?
Um, well, there was one where I realized that who I was and what I had prepared didn't match the audience that I was speaking to.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a room full of academics.
Yes. Was this before you even had the soap as your
Yeah, that was
trademark?
before that, and I
Yeah.
was talking about that was I think that was my Own It While You Own It, and I'm trying to forget it. Uh, but
Yeah.
it's like, and the thing is, there were certain parts of it didn't go well, and at the
Yeah.
same time, there were tons of people in the audience that loved what I did,
Yeah.
but it was a lower percentage than I wanted it.
Yeah.
And I could feel it and it was, that's what I felt. So I know that I added value to,
Mhm.
it's like that whole starfish story. I know I added value to some of the people in the room.
Yeah.
But there's a part of you that always wants to add value to 100% of the people in
Yes.
the room.
And what's funny is if we see an evaluation and 99% rated you 5 stars,
Right.
but 1% rated you 2 stars, where are you going to focus your energy?
Yeah.
On
It's
the
it's
2%. Well, what was it? What
what I
was the
do wrong.
problem?
What I do wrong.
And I think that that's really interesting. So we've also talked a lot, you and I, about your thoughts and the kinds of thoughts that so we've told a little bit about this show, the thought model that we use. There's a circumstance that happens, and then there's a thought you have about that, and then there's a feeling that's derived from that thought, and then you're taking action or maybe inaction in some cases, and it goes on from there. And your actions are either going to get results or not get results based on what feeling they're coming from. So that's kind of a very quick and dirty of our thought model. And if you want more information about it, send me a note and I'll send you to something that can help educate you about it. But so we've talked before about thoughts that weren't helpful to you, and you have created new thoughts. And talk about what one of your thoughts is that really kind of centers you and gets you grounded and moving out into the world in the right space.
Yeah. One of my latest thoughts, and I got this from meditation teacher Joe Dispenza. And and it's a great thought. I am already there.
Oh,
You
I have
know,
already
I
arrived.
am
Like,
already there.
I am
Yeah.
already there because, and this goes back to The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan.
Right.
And for you especially, one time we talked about how we just kind of listed all the things that allowed you to believe you were already there.
Hmm.
You live in this fabulous New York apartment, and you really have created this amazing life for yourself. And I think sometimes it's easy for us to forget how
Right.
fabulous our life is. And that thought in my mind for you is absolutely perfect. I'm already
Yeah.
there. I
I'm
have
already there.
already arrived.
Yeah,
There's no struggle.
exactly. And it's such a simple thought, but it's such an important thought. And then you define what there is. And the
Yeah.
other thing that I think, and I heard this and reinforced in the podcast I was listening to this morning, is we need to surround ourselves by a culture of people who are also already there, because our mindset shifts depending on who it is that we hang around. And we've heard that
The
adage, Joni,
seven
as
people.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're only as important as the people or whatever. I don't remember what it is completely. But, when you surround yourself with people who believe you're there versus people who are struggling,
Yes. And
it's a whole different thing.
and in this industry, there's a joke that we used to talk about a long time ago when I first got in the industry is that, our families would secretly wish that we'd get a quote unquote
Real
real job, right? Most people don't really get it,
Yeah,
what they do. And you sit next to somebody on a plane, what do you do? And I like to have people answer that question with how they the help that they give people versus the delivery system. So what do you do? I'm a speaker versus what do you do? Well, I help people reduce the drama in their workplaces. Oh, how do you do that? That's what that
right,
kind of leads to. But when you say I'm a speaker, people will be like, you mean like Tony Robbins? Like nobody,
right.
that's really the only person that they know of that does that. And I think it's really hard for people to understand that. And so I think joining an organization that allows you to be with other people who already get it and are able to look at you and within that organization to surround yourself with people who are really doing it,
Right.
because I think it's easy to get focused on struggle. Talk
Hmm.
about that back to acting. Sh- sh- Actors are notorious for the struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have to like kind of shake that mentality to even get to where you
Yeah.
are today?
Yeah, because people love to talk about how hard it is, how hard acting is and how impossible. And one of the things like in my book, Standing Ovation Presentations, and one of the frameworks that I use for understanding and communicating with people is something that I call actor types, because I created a personality or communication style assessment called actor types. And it's like the different roles and different types that people show up with in the movies, like the buddy and the hero and the superhero. But I came to writing about this because as an actor, you'd go to an audition and you get what's called sides and you look, and then there are other people's sides there, but you have your name and you're studying this. And then you can't but help but look over and think, oh, what is that person reading? Or what's that part? And you sit back, it's like, I could have done that part. Why didn't I get a call for that part? Blah, blah, blah. And then so all of this becomes, it's like, I can't believe she got to audition for that. Blah, blah. I could have done that. And finally, like at one point, I would look around and I think, no, you could
Yeah.
not have done that part. It's like, you're not
Well,
the right type. You're not,
why
it's
am I
just,
playing the comparison game?
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
thief of joy, says somebody famous. Just stop it. Just stop.
yeah, yeah.
Tell everybody where they can get that book and say the name of the book again, because people might be interested in the actor types and learning
Yeah.
about
The
that.
book is called Standing Ovation Presentations. You can get it on Amazon, Standing
Yeah.
Ovation Presentations. And if you go to my website, robynhatcher.com, there's actually an opportunity for you to take a quick and
Like,
dirty quiz to
okay,
find out what your actor type is. But
good,
then you get more details when you read the book.
good. And I
Yeah.
want to spell Robyn is Robyn, Hatcher
Yes.
is Hatcher, .com. So if there was anything, let's say circling back to the very first days when you were teaching presentation skills and you decided, okay, I have a professional speaking business now. What would have been the one piece of advice that you wish you would have had all the way back then? Sorry, I'm totally putting you on the spot here. You did not have any
No,
time to prepare for this.
no, that's fine. I
What would
mean,
you have told your younger speaking self?
well, I would have told my younger speaker self to get involved with other speakers
Yeah.
because just like the whole going back to the soap opera thing, you've written this amazing script and you want the actor to say it word for word,
Mm-hmm.
but the editor has a whole different idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so that editor can cut out things that don't work, can rewrite things that they may sound better. And
Yeah.
that's what we need. And that's what we need in our lives. It's like find your editor be your editor, because a lot of times, like, we could be our editor and we need to find good editors, and it may not be one editor. So one editor could tell you, oh, that word stinks, or this, and then also go back with your gut and do that internal mindset and mind
Yeah.
view, like really look and see who it is that you are, what is in your soul Bible that needs to come out and needs to be heard and seen,
Mm.
and then maybe take it to another editor and then go back and edit it yourself, because we can't do it alone. We shouldn't do it alone.
No. And the
And
speaking can be a lonely business.
yeah,
It
yeah,
really can. So I want to caution people on getting too many editors in your life,
right.
because at some point you do have to learn to trust your gut. I've done a lot of editing this in the past couple of years, just shedding my life of complexity and things that I didn't need to be doing, reducing the number of social medias that I'm on and different
Hmm.
things like that. Edit, edit, edit. To me, that's what I think of that as.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that's an excellent point, because when you go back to the soaps, they only have one editor.
yeah,
Like, imagine it, you can't have an editor for each day,
no,
because that's not going to work.
won't have the same thing. So yeah,
Exactly.
I think uh, I know people who not what you're talking about, but I know people who ask everybody for their opinion and then they
Right.
just drown in confusion. And I think that that is not necessarily helpful as well. And there are also people who are like joiners of all the groups and
Hmm.
all the things. And at some point, you need to stop learning and just start taking action.
That's
And
a great point, and that's
yeah,
something
just
advice that someone gave to me. I wonder who.
I wasn't going to call you out on that, Robyn. But I do recall that conversation. But yeah, I think that having an editor in your life, because they say that old saying, it's hard to see the label when you're inside the jar.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes somebody looking in on your business can say in, you know, 10 or 20 minutes, like, oh my gosh, I've been going around in circles on this for 3 years, and you just
right.
helped me solve that problem. It's just helpful. It's helpful
Yeah,
to have a sounding board to say it out loud. This is what I'm thinking. Is this a good idea or is this not a good idea? And
exactly.
I think
Yeah. And just
really,
to wrap it up in the soap opera analogy as well, is like, there's always a head writer. And
mm,
so you are the head writer
yes, be the
of
head
your
writer
life.
on that position.
Yeah, you are the head writer. The
Yeah,
editor is in service to the head writer.
you. Yes.
So yeah,
Oh, I love that. And that really goes back to the whole own it while you hone it idea, is like be the be the head writer.
right.
Really take ownership of your life, take ownership of your business and your decisions. And if you want to pull in an editor to help you make that decision, great.
Yeah.
But really own it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robyn, where should people connect with you? What's your best connection tool? Do you like LinkedIn? Are you an Instagram person? Where do you like to be?
I love LinkedIn is my favorite.
Okay.
I feel like I don't understand Instagram.
Okay. Well, that's no
You
problem.
can
You
totally
don't need
connect with me on Instagram, because I totally have an account and I am there.
you
But
don't
it's
need
like it's taken me, I'm like a late adapter.
Let's connect
So
with you on LinkedIn. So Robyn, Robyn, Hatcher, Hatcher. Go out and connect with Robyn. Let her know that you've heard her on the Wealthy Speaker podcast. And I'm sure people will want to pick up that book on Amazon as well. Robyn, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing the inside tea about soap operas. I found that very interesting, as well as all of your ideas around the speaking business.
thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here. And your listeners are so lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you. We're going to say, appreciate you listening, and we'll see you soon, Wealthy Speakers. Bye for now, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help building the speaking business of your dreams, head over to wealthyspeakerschool.com and take advantage of our 20-minute next step call. Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast.